Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. As you can see, Kev's disappeared, but it's just me on my own today. Mike and Lance are otherwise engaged. So we have one of our spuds with us, Ash. He's going to give me a hand because I can't manage it by myself. And we are joined by the lovely guys from Defiant as normal. We've got James and Kev. So we'll be running through some questions with those today. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments with a Q in front, and we'll try and answer as many as we can get through. Where should we start this off then? Not used to this now, being in charge.
I'm normally in that chat.
I
was in trouble.
Do you want to just go around and introduce yourself? So just for any of our new listeners, quickly. We start off with Ash, just quickly.
You're right there, guys. I'm Ashley, obviously. Find me on Instagram under One League in UK Pegasus. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask me there. But I've been doing Airsoft for 6 years now, and I've been sort of working in the background with the NoFo guys, trying to keep things running smoothly. But yeah.
And you guys, I suppose, I'll let you fight amongst yourselves. Who wants to go first?
Boss goes first.
Boss goes first.
Well, I was going to say, oldest can go first, but okay. So anyway, I'm James, sort of founder of Defiant Events from fuck knows how many years back now, a little while ago. We run a myriad of different event types, from milsim. We might think about breaking into battle sim in the future, but that's a subject matter we can cover later. From full on force on force to immersive milsims. We don't run one a month. We're not that frequent. We fit this into our lives as a what the fuck are you doing?
That's his fault.
He's in charge, isn't he? Yeah.
We fit this into our lives practically as a hobby. Right? We do this for fun, which is really fucking sad, to be fair. But we just run the events that we'd want to play.
Yeah, I think James said it perfectly. I met James through him running events on my local site. Defiant had been running beforehand, and Defiant had stopped. And I sort of took James. We went to different events around the country for a bit of time. And I'm the silly bugger that convinced James to bring Defiant back and restart Defiant. So I do apologise in advance for everything Defiant has done. It's my fault.
I was thrown in the towel and packed it in, and he was like, let's come and go do some events. And so we went on did a few different events around the country. And then it was like halfway through the lockdown period, he went, you had the right idea. You could just do with some help. Would you do it again? And I've nothing else better going on at the time. And now I'm stuck.
Yeah. So, literally you guys started these live during lockdown, and we actually started Defiant. We started Defiant again at that point as well, because we got chatting, and James was working with another guy, Nathan, was still really good friends with Nathan still, and I then offered to help out, and it's just grown from there. So it has grown in 4 years that is now, James, isn't it?
Defiant was a thing a couple of years before that, but it was definitely a lot smaller. Coming out of lockdown was like the rebirth, but it was fast, almost too fast.
The phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah. So I just want to say hello to Marky Mark, Operator Broadsaw, Kenny, Tony Pony, James L Clock, pretty sure you're new, Oscar, Rage, Standard, hello Rage, Landnav Challenge, Daz, Ryan, Bushy, G1G, joining us on stream, Twitch, whatever that
Twitch.
Purple Twitch.
Yeah.
Our one subscriber to Twitch, Perfect. Thank you very much.
100% attendance. 100% attendance.
I suppose we do actually have some news, don't we, that we need to cover. So let's move over to that. If I can find it. It's not working.
Andy's looking for the button.
It's not working. There we go. Right.
I take my gun and I go pew 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 pew.
News.
This is why I shouldn't be given admin privileges.
It's all right. We'll blame Mike. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll blame Mike.
It's
Mike
terrible,
and
it's Mike.
Lance and his top knot. So Ash, you had some charity news that
Yes.
you want to speak about quickly.
So, same weekend as NoFo's event and Defiance event of Machiavellian, Combat UK are going to be hosting a weekend charity event for Ollie Talks Airsoft up at Gunman Tudman. That's going to be camping, small disco. I think they said they're going to have night games and stuff like that. So if you're not on either of these two events, jump on that and get out for the weekend, have some fun, and raise some money for a good cause. The poor blokes needs all the help.
Yeah, definitely.
Right now, don't you?
Yeah. So if you haven't got any plans that weekend, or if you can't come to either of our events because they might be too far for you, there's another skirmish event for you. I think your event is fully booked now, isn't it, guys? Your one on that weekend?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it is Machiavellian and Charlie.
Yeah.
It's low number event anyway, due to the style of event. But yeah, it is booked up.
Yep, and our Blue 4 is booked up. I think there might be a random ticket left that you might need to just drop Lance or myself a message, because I think so I might be dropping out. But there are still a few places left on the Op4 side. And if you're interested in coming along and trying it for a different style event, we do have some Civ Pop location openings as well, if you don't really want to get involved as such as a pew pewer. Is that a word? Is that a pew pewer?
Well, it shouldn't be. But yeah,
No, it shouldn't be a word.
Ridiculous. I do that. I'm shit at shooting, so you know,
Yeah.
laugh around all day and live in the woods. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, they got some good tasking. So yeah, lots of. I also Frontline Events having an event on that weekend.
It's a busy weekend, isn't it?
It is massively busy. So
if you're an airsofter and you're not at an event that weekend, you need to rethink.
yeah,
Your
you've got to
life.
have a good excuse. You've got to have a good excuse.
What are you guys up to?
Yeah. So the other big news that we've all been chatting about behind the scenes is the Milsim West changes to their would you say Op4 roles
They're
or their
militia. Yeah, they're militia. Yeah. Which is more of a, I guess you would maybe call it Op4 in the UK if that opposing force was a civilian uprising, or you know, more of a civilian centered faction.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you've had a bit of a read. There's the YouTube video as well. That I think all three of us are. Kev, have you seen it yet?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. So, like, I was thinking about making changes to our rules and sort of debating it internally within Defiant, and then Milsim West had come out and gone, nah, yeah, we're going to do the first update that we've done in 7 years. I was like, fair play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. So there's some interesting rules on what they can have on their weapons, isn't there? So then only allowed one attachment.
Yes.
So you can only have a torch or a optic. You can't.
So yeah,
have both.
there's a bit of confusion around this. right? Because they've said one attachment, but what is an attachment? Because technically a magazine is an attachment, a sling is an attachment, and I think what they're aiming for is not to have Gucci'd up riffs with all the mod cons. So I think, you know, take it as I personally would take it as electronic attachments. So I wouldn't be running a PEC, a red dot, and a torch. I'd be running just one of those, you know.
No,
yeah, and obviously
obviously in that YouTube video we all watched, probably, and he mentioned about like foregrips and stuff like that. It's a big part of how someone holds a gun, isn't it? So it can make it a bit tricky if you're very used to something.
It is a big part of how somebody holds a gun now, but look back to the 70s, 80s, didn't exist. Well, if it did exist, it was highly modified. But yeah, so it doesn't stop you from using a weapon, does it?
No. But back in the primitive days.
Kevin's era.
Yeah.
Farm asbestos gun, you know.
Yeah.
Saying that, Grand Thumbs, I've seen these teasers
FAMAS.
for the FAMAS.
Yeah. Even more
watched
abusive than the SA-80 one.
Yeah. Have you watched his new one about the Ukrainian?
Yes.
Yeah. The British bite. He likes the F word, doesn't he? It's like, you could see them going, I don't know how to deal with this.
I did scroll or quickly flick through the comments to see if I could spot any comments about the Brit guy and his love for swearing. But
yeah. No. But no, that's another really interesting video.
That is definitely one to put on the watch list for this week.
Yeah. After watching us. And some of the kit that they're using as well. Like the kit breakdown at the beginning of the video I actually thought was really good.
I thought that the talk about the drone usage, the drone protection that they use on trenches and how they react to drones was interesting, as well as, and I know it's not applicable to Airsoft, but the difference between Western and Russian artillery in its deadly nature, you know, that basically Western, pardon the pun, but blows the shit out of it. I thought that was an interesting realization.
But yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, definitely head over to there and give that one a watch. Have you guys got any other news at all? I think that was kind of it that we covered.
Well, we kind of, I mentioned it to you earlier. We're out the back of SHOT Show 2024 now. Where most of the big companies that do all their video stuff, they've put out their media. There was nothing in it this year that made me think, oh, you know, I can't wait for that. I mean, yeah, there was certain elements from Hollow Sun, but they teased that last year. It's not out yet. You know, the thermal overlays and the night vision optics, they're coming, and they do look really good. And the price point, I think, is really good on it.
It's very competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it will never be as good as a dedicated thermal or dedicated night vision unit, but it does bridge a gap there that I think is quite interesting. But yeah, other than that, what else was there? Oh, there was a pair of shoes I like the look of. They weren't Crocs.
Crocs, no.
Yeah.
Chicken.
But yeah, that was honestly about it.
Yeah, I was chatting to. I just got one of my gun service that done at Combat South, got it shipped back today. I was chatting to them last night as they shipped it back, and they were talking about the new Systema PTWs.
All right, yeah.
Changes there. All right, I don't know if anyone had heard of them. So they've not made the whole guns to sell as of yet, but they've changed. So basically, if you buy the new Systema gearbox as well, which is the old PTW gearbox, and the motor was in the hand grip, they've now changed the motor also into the gearbox. So you can now use any hand grip you want. It looks as if they've resolved a lot of the previous problems with the PTWs with motors and bushings and whatever else with these new laws for the Systemas. they've not yet got the full gun. So a lot of guys, the question now is, do the Systemas come back into vogue, buy the new gearbox, put it into your old shell, and then revamp and rework the old Systema PTW? So potential that Systema PTWs might make more of a return to the scene again.
So they've effectively shrunk down an M249 gearbox.
Effectively,
no, not really.
No.
So they've turned it into a brushless motor now.
Brushless,
so
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's all internal, with electronic sort of trigger sort of system and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it looks very interesting. There's another company that's kind of cloned it and tried to do something similar as well. I can't remember the name of them now, but I think they've kind of gone quiet a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something people will be looking out for to see, the first bits that come round, first bits that come into the UK, first people using them. It's going to be interesting. That could be, recoils and gas guns have really become on vogue over the last, if James smelling his gas guns there, over the last 12 to 24 months. But yeah, maybe the old PTWs might actually make a bit of a resurgence onto the market. But at price point, I think if they're talking about this new gearbox is going to be pretty much the price of an old PTW itself. But you might be able to revamp your old PTWs with these gearboxes. So yeah, it could be interesting. People have maybe, because you see PTWs for sale for like £600-700 now, because people know there's lots of cost to refurbish and redo motors as well. So it might be interesting to see if they come back in vogue over the next 12 months or something. So yeah, keep an eye on that.
It'll definitely be interesting to watch.
Yeah. I think that's it for the news. Let's crack on with talking about Defiant. Let's close the news then, right?
I take my gun and I go pew 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 pew.
News.
There we go. Done. Easy. Seamless it was.
Perfect. Like a professional.
It was, yeah. Mike's probably sitting there turning in his grave going,
I'm redundant.
Yeah, I was thinking, Mike who? I mean,
yeah, Mike. I've got to keep a level of standard though, haven't I?
It's low, but we can maintain it.
Yeah. It is low, and I can take it lower if we need to. So
I think I'm with the right company tonight for that,
Yeah.
Oh, it's a dark bit tonight.
It is, yeah. So, obviously, we have you guys on, we shall refer to you as Defiant Events as a whole. And you've got an event, obviously, running in the next week. No, a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Jesus.
Don't panic.
When is it?
It's
How many weeks?
End of March.
That's it.
It's the end of March. It's the one that you're talking about. So we've got our Machiavellian event, which is our reconnaissance-based specialty, low number, uber hardcore, hard as nails kind of event. And then we've got what has undoubtedly caused a bit of a stir within the Milsim scene is our event called Op Loken, which is Longmoor UTC in Hampshire.
Yep. Congratulations as well, by the way, for getting hold of Longmoor.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a fairly long. I don't want to say fight. It was me just getting frustrated with the amount of emails, shit talk, administration, and non-movement. But we got
How's
there.
your jaw? How's your jaw?
Yeah, I've still got gravel in my knees.
Clamps up now and again.
There's obviously with we've talked about the videos of Ukraine. There's a lot of training still going on UK sites to upskill and train Ukrainians. There's still a bit of a backlog for British forces, and it was only recently that they made an announcement that they were opening up the sites for like cadets and hires towards other companies and events. So we've obviously been in touch with Landmark, different areas, different sites and parts of the country. Different event organisers have used Longmoor in the past, and some are now not working in that field anymore. So we made the initial approach, and we sort of kept in touch. As James said, it's frustrating. And obviously, when we got the site visit, there's then another huge pile of paperwork comes James's way to fill out from that as well. So it's a bureaucratic process. And I say the day we went to do our sort of site visit on there and get the tour around and be given the safety brief and everything off of them, there was a military unit on there, and they had been bumped the day before for Ukrainians. The very day before, they literally bust a couple of coachloads of Ukrainians to do a day's phobia training on the site, and the British Army unit were actually kicked off the site while the Ukrainians did their training. So we face that. I think anyone using MOD sites at the moment faces that as well. So we've got our dates. Hopefully they all run. But we've got really good plans for them.
Yeah.
So I hear there is some. How would you class it? Controversy over your, because you've also made some rule changes for adaptations.
We tend to change our rules or elements of our rules dependent on the event that we're trying to run. Okay, because if it's an immersive event, we change the rules around slightly to say, task force can have this and op 4 can have that, or they can't have this, depending on the scenario. And there are some people that didn't agree with some of the rules that were implemented for our Loken event. And if you haven't looked into what that event is, it's based upon eco-terrorism and effectively a UK-based civilian uprising against government facilities and personalities, right, or people.
It's almost a bit like Milsim West. There's almost a militia element to it, effectively. And some of the downgrading that they've done, we've not because we've read theirs. We thought, and James always puts out polls on Instagram about people's ideas, and a lot of our community came back to us and said that they wanted an event like this. Now that was as a task force or as an op 4, they come out saying they wanted that different type event. I think Defiant's always responded to what people want. And yes, there's been comments that, it's not normal. But, we sold out both sides very, very quickly on the day as well. So, people want...
It was more than just comments, right? I mean, like,
I'm being diplomatic. This is live, though.
No, fuck them.
You can be like, you can say what you need to say, guys. We are your platform for abuse.
I will be. You know what I'm like. I'll say it how I see it. So the rules that we implemented is we didn't allow machine guns on either side, although we are allowing a small number of mounted machine guns for task force, and we weren't allowing head-mounted night vision for op 4. Okay, simply because if you think about obviously the whole scenario is fictional, but we'd like to think that it's maybe slightly plausible. Believe it or not, milsimmers are probably the exception to the rule, that not every civilian in the UK owns night vision and thermal. I
wonder why they don't, but never mind.
Because they're a lot smarter and make better decisions with their finances, right? Well, that was a majority of the. We didn't allow things like mortars and remote debts and stuff like that for task force. And the questions I was getting, it was like, why? It was like, well, because the UK police probably aren't going to mortar civilians in town, maybe. And obviously the reason around the night vision is, as explained, is it's a little bit far-fetched to have an opposing force that meant to be spawned from a civilian background suddenly wearing all ops core helmets, JPCs, night vision. It's a little bit too far. So we said, no plate carriers. If you're going to have a bag, it's got to be a civilian style bag. You can wear. We allowed one item of DPM or MT1, so you can throw in that kind of Northern Ireland-esque IRA look if you wanted to. But yeah, that was the idea around it. People that disagreed with that are people who they're basically. I don't think that they are immersive milsim players. Okay, there might be milsim players, but that's more of a force on force, a combat mission, something like that, rather than an event that is more about the build up, the immersing yourself in a situation and that escape from reality. And they just want a scrap. Ultimately, a lot of them just want to kick the snot out of task force come nighttime, right? Not play the role. Okay. And basically, Loken is not an event for them. They can book off any skirmish site they want and come and do their thing and do exactly what they want. Okay, but Loken is not the event for them. We may run events in the future. In fact, we plan to run events in the future that will be more to their suiting, but Loken is not one of them. So yeah, there was all kinds of crap kicking around online from WhatsApp groups and the DMs that I was getting that were somewhat rude. Telling us that we were being stupid and that we haven't got a clue what we're doing and all that sort of stuff. I was like, we sold out, mate. So,
so it's the term I would use as well, and it's like, okay, James predominantly does task force for Defiant. I predominantly do opt for Defiant as well. Even a red tide event with police and rules of engagement or the local or anything that we've done before. There's extra requirements that task force have got to do, like patrolling, stag duties, and whatever else. So there's a lot of extras task force have to do. I'd say across the community, across different event organisers, there is less of a desire to do that standard task force part because opt for is easier. Because you've got under no controls, you can do as you want. You can put your night vision on. You can dress up like 13 hours. And whatever else, and go out and do your bit and smash task force.
Run around with a club down spooner.
Yeah, the number of guys that contacted us. Now, James said we had the haters. The number of people have contacted us and said, like, finally a traditional task force, finally a traditional event. So yeah, it's the first for us. Will there be? There's a Red Tide 4 this year. Will there be a Loken 2? We have no idea. Or will it be a summer event? We'll take it from there. But I think I must admit is, I say the opt-for groups I'm in as well. Guys are, they're not doing the cut down stoners. They're not doing the plate carriers. They're sitting thinking, right, okay, what sort of trips can we create? What sort of IEDs can we trade? What can we do? How does this work? How can we use it well? And guys are thinking that way for this event. Whereas beforehand they'd go,
how we move,
yeah. So they go the stoner.
So they're more thinking that. Yeah, they're more thinking about that non-conventional warfare. How to get around, how to abuse ROEs, how to get away with things, than they are about having a toe-to-toe fight, because they wouldn't win a toe-to-toe fight, which is realistic for the scenario that we've set up. I think if you look back at Milsim over the last couple of years, certainly there has been more of a shift towards opt-for, like Kevin said, and it's simply because I believe it's easier. It's got less controls over it. You don't have to stag. You don't have to go through orders and all of the other stuff that goes with task force. You've got no ROE. You literally go, oh, I've got my gun and there's contact. I'm going for it. Right? It's as simple as that. And so,
to eat something, I'm going to stop. I'm going to eat something. I'll put my night vision on. I'm going to shoot them again at night time. Yeah, it has become too.
Yeah. It's got to a point that opt-for have all of the benefits and none of the drawbacks of task force experience. Okay.
Yes.
And we just weren't selling task force in general. It was selling, but a little bit slower. Not this time.
No.
I mean, we did change up some things. We changed the uniform rules to allow black kit. We allowed more civilian style kit with plate carriers, kind of in alignment with the Liverpool or Manchester counter-terrorism things we saw. So I think that might have helped slightly, but ultimately it's because we leveled the playing field.
Yeah. So do you think this might be because obviously it's coincidence again that you guys have moved in that direction, and so have Milsim West, which are on obviously the other side of the pond. Do you think this could be a move towards that style of rules becoming more popular with
I think so.
event organisers?
I think so. I know there's, like you've mentioned already, you had problems filling Task Force. I know there's other milsim companies out there that are having the same problems. Everybody is flocking to Op4 for the same reasons you've said. It is easier. You can dick around more and just get away with a lot more, can't you? It's not strict and it's not.
It's a more chilled experience, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah,
that's one thing that I'm not. It's very chilled.
I mean, I always saw Task Force, the milsims that I've done, because unfortunately I haven't done many of your events. I've done Red Tide and that's about it. So I need to do a lot more of them in the coming months and years. But the ones that I've done, Task Force normally tends to also be the newer players to the milsim side as well, because they've already got all the multi-glam and stuff like that. And it's kind of a shame that they're kind of not seeing the full aspect of it, because everybody's just going off for just trash them.
I wouldn't say you're 100% correct on that. I think you get a good smattering of new players on both sides. You get people doing Op4 because it is that bit easier and you don't necessarily have to have all the kit. You can mix it up with a bit of civilian kit, etc. Yes, you do get Task Force guys that are new to it, coming out of that skirmish environment, going into milsim. Myself and Kevin do what we can to be nurturing to that aspect. But you also get those guys that have been doing it for a very, very long time and gotten very, very good at it. So it's broad. You know, the guys that book on either side can be extremely broad. We also get guys that flip between teams. They're not Op4 for life. They'll look at the scenario and go, oh, I fancy doing something different.
Yeah.
You know?
So do you think do you think this could move on to more extreme versions of the rulings? Because I know, like myself and James have had a little chat about a 13 hours sort of rules where they literally have AKs with no optics or anything at all, or a weapon platform. Do you think that could start moving forward for more extreme milsim sort of?
I would never run. I mean, Kevin and I have talked about 13-hour style events, and you can't do a 13-hour event within milsim. Not with more than 8 people on Task Force. But I mean, you can put that vibe into certain situations, but you can't base it purely on that. But yeah, just going back to what you said there, yeah, we did Op Irene based on the Operation Gothic Serpent or the Battle for Mogadishu, the Black Hawk Down story. We did that, and all of our Op4 in all civilian kit, no Gucci weapons, no Gucci optics, no night vision, no nothing. I mean, the respawn rules were entirely in Op4's favour. Let's be fair, because it had to be, because we had to simulate several thousand compared to, we had to simulate that ratio. But it was a cracking event. We didn't actually charge Op4 any money for that event. They were all kind of handpicked or invited to come along, because we wanted to make sure that they were playing the right game. They were effectively there as role players with a weapon, right? Basically, to run out.
It was like Machiavelli, wasn't it? It was like Machiavelli kind of thing.
It was Machiavelli with a lot more
steroids. Yeah.
And they did a fantastic job. Now, they also really enjoyed themselves, and I think a number of them enjoyed the simplicity of what they were doing. But I'm not entirely sure there would be a market for going, hey, book on, no night vision, no plate carrier, no Gucci kit on your weapon, and walk at Task Force and die. Yeah, that's just not going to happen. I don't think. I think there has to be. So the 13 hours one, I don't think would ever work, right? I believe that you can lessen Op4's capabilities technologically or however. That's absolutely fine to do, as long as at some point those underdogs get the upper hand, right? Because that's what everybody that books in as Op4 wants to do, is to be their anarchist that gets the upper hand, right? And that's what a lot of them pull their enjoyment from.
Well, it's like Rage mentioned a minute ago. He said, where is it? There it is. Ultimately, James, you can't please everyone all the time. If you weren't doing something right, people wouldn't attend to your events. Let them moan. Pointless arguing with people.
Oh yeah.
So you are.
I'm not saying that we do make mistakes, and we will make mistakes. And this is the first event that we've run at Longmoor. No doubt, we'll take away some learning points. No doubt.
Every day is a school day.
But we do always learn, and where applicable, where we can, we implement changes.
Yeah. Just going on one of Rage's comments again as well. He's said about nods and thermal rules, but restricting attachment on weapons only affects aesthetics. Completely understand that. But so Milsim West, what someone said was seeing that weapon at distance and seeing only one optic on it or something like that, let them ID people a bit easier as well. So that's the sort of thing they're aiming for with that, I think. Not that it's Gucci guns or anything like that. It's just purely to try and ID people easier.
The problem they were seeing at Milsim West is that everybody would turn up in Cry M81s and the full plate carriers and helmet and play as militia.
See, the fun thing about that,
like Marsoc,
is a rule for Milsim West has been for a long time that you don't wear full plate carriers, but it never got enforced properly. So it's one of those things. It needs to be enforced if they're going to keep doing it. Definitely. Absolutely,
I think they're going to be a lot tighter on it.
Yeah.
And we could face the idea of our first event at Longmoor. Something rocks up and something doesn't. That's the case of either go and change or you're playing on the other side.
I'll bring
Krylon and wear nothing.
Krylon.
Yeah.
Krylon the bikini.
Yeah, just do what Chris does. Just don't turn up with trousers and let someone supply them for you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to implement a trouser rental program. Chris, wasn't the first time that we had to lend out trousers.
Oh.
Well, when they talk about
someone else.
So there was 2 sleeping bags that were forgotten that weekend when it got down to the minus figures, right? So Chris was one of them. But when we did our Irene event in September last year, we had 2 people turn up, one in Multicam Tropic and one in DPM. Despite that, and we thought we were being pretty loose with the rules here because we pretty much allowed any desert colour. But you got 2 fuckers looking like they're about to storm the jungles. It was so we had to lend them kit, which wasn't returned for a number of weeks afterwards in some instances. But that's why I said I'll just bring Krylon or cam cream. So next time Chris lets his trousers, he can just cam cream his legs up.
Just a rattle can from Halfords and just spray him up.
Which faction are you, black or tan?
Yeah, look, there you go. Look, here he is. Look, bugger.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got a lot of events coming up this year. You've obviously secured Longmoor. Have you got any plans of style of events that you're thinking of doing for there? Is there anything you can give us any sneak peeks or ideas on at all that you might have floating around in those noggins of yours?
So the two that we've put a bit more thought into are obviously the idea of a Machiavellian. James has already put down the idea of doing a Machiavellian at Longmoor, and James has also alluded to the idea of more of that force on force event on Longmoor as well. So those are the 2 other areas that people want force on force, where green can wear the plate carrier and green can wear the night vision. But we balance it up that instead of being a civilian,
I think that's a shit idea.
Yeah, you said it was your idea.
That is.
And it would be a case of, instead of them having the advantage of coming out as a civilian and whatever else, they would have to be in a combative position. So it would be effectively an invasion of tan invades green, or green invades tan for that event, and have to set up a foothold in the village and gain grounds, I think. So it would be a peer-on-peer conflict. Okay, aka what's happening in Ukraine sort of idea, something of that sort of nature, to equal size forces, or equally capable forces in a head-to-head combat. So that's one idea. And another one is we've done Machiavellians that have always been sort of urban and whatever else, but actually we've done a Machiavellian that have been sort of rural, I should say, but actually bring a Machiavellian into an urban event as well. So that's the two really strong ideas we've got at the moment.
An urban Machiavellian would not only be kind of like urban sniper hides and OPs, but we would also include covert work. So basically moving around a civilian populace as an undercover person doing that covert surveillance role.
Wow, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Got some good ideas. We've got some really experienced people advising us on what to do there. There is, should I be saying this? No, I'm going to say it anyway. There is some covert surveillance stuff going on within Leyloken as well, being UKSF and
no, not so covert.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's in the situation brief, and if OPFOR ain't looking for them already, then they should be.
If you haven't read your briefing, then
I can read it. I'm waiting till you read it out on the day, mate, so I know what's happening,
So I mean, obviously we've got we've got Raid in June as well, up at HQ, as well as Red Tide 4 we're on now. But also dotted out throughout the year in terms of Longmoor, we've got Leyloken. We have a date in July, although I can't remember what the actual dates are. We have a date in July, which the plan is to do that near peer adversary scenario. We then have a date which is 2 weeks after Red Tide 4, which is early October. I think it's 12th of October or something. Oh yeah, so that's it. It's my anniversary, isn't it? Yeah. It's 12th of October. My anniversary.
Not ours, James's, and his official other half.
I thought, yeah. Oh, James and Kev's anniversary.
Sometimes I think I spend more time with Kevin. But that's because of the period, because it's so close to Red Tide. At this stage, we're thinking that we might do that as more of a battle sim. Okay, now this is all obviously yet to be confirmed, and dates could still change or be pulled from us, But if that goes ahead, it's likely to be more of a battle sim. It could be a battle sim weekender. It could be either a Saturday or a Sunday. It could be a collab event. It could be. We're not yet sure. We are building on that one.
It could be sort of training related, team related Saturday training, and battle sim on the Sunday, or vice versa, or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly right. But we feel that if we would try to run 2 immersive events within that close proximity of time, we'd be putting out inferior events. So we don't want to do that. Therefore, we need to make one of those events a little bit simpler to put together, run, and manage. So basically, a battle sim becomes our cop out. Hey,
I think doing Red Tide 5 2 weeks after Red Tide 4 might not go down very well.
Red Tide 5, the follow through. Yeah.
But you do have different styles of events that you run that you started to work on individually. So obviously, you're on Red Tide 4 now, so that's obviously a long running storyline.
Never intended to be. I never wanted to do a series of events.
Yeah, and then you've got your Machiavellian events, which
Yeah.
are a little bit more hardcore and extreme. And obviously you've said you've run Raid, which was a
Actually,
battle sim sort
so
of
yeah, we
idea.
had some questions about Raid. Obviously, we did Raid in November of last year, and we've got it planned for June of this year. The question came through earlier on: is Raid going to be an annual event? And we hope so. Yeah, we do hope so. And yeah, I would say that it is more of a battle sim. It's 24 hours. You know, it is a full no breaks, all gas kind of an event. But it is less serious in that you don't have, you know, command chasing you down. You know, you've got everything that you need to do within that 24-hour period written down with it, you know, with your time scales and stuff on it. So you're less reliant on things like comms and command and stuff like that. You can pretty much do your own thing within your group, but there are certainly some milsim or some more stringent milsim elements to it, and it uses our same standard rule set that we use on all of our events. So, still no high caps, no cut down fucking stoners and shit like that. But yeah,
I'm just saying,
sorry. With you saying Raid's more of your battle sim, does that mean peer-to-peer is going to be a bit more intense and milsim-y in comparison?
Yeah,
so it's going to be a bit stricter and everything like that?
Yeah. So a peer-to-peer or near-peer event would still be an immersive event where you'd have your command structure, you'd have all of those elements, you'd be given objectives either by comms, by, you know, physical orders, or you'd have follow-on missions, something like that, as opposed to having a document that says at 2:00 you are doing this, at 3:00 you are doing this, right? And so there's the big difference. But I think Raid is a great. It's good for people that want that kind of event. If you want the opportunity to have 24 hours of trigger time, Raid is what you want. You know, if you want to be absolutely self-controlled and not really get chased down by anybody to do X, Y, and Z, go and do Raid. You know, because as long as you operate within our rule set, I'm going to be pretty chill all weekend, which makes a fucking change, right? But yeah,
anyone would say that you're angry.
It does sound a bit angry.
Where's your patch, James? Your official patch. We need it for the live. Hold it up, you know.
Yeah. Where's it
it's on the back of the chair. Hang on.
So not as if he planned this.
Oh, it's not. It's on my other jacket.
Oh.
No, I don't get angry.
Just passionate.
Apart from me and Mike, just walk,
yeah.
Apart from when me and Mark walk around the corner and he goes, "You're not meant to be here. Go."
But yeah. What were we talking about?
Yeah.
My anger issues.
Yeah. So we've had some questions come in. I think Ash has got a few lined up. If you.
I've got a buttload of questions from one particular watcher.
Oh, he's probably sent all these ones in as well. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But biggest question that actually piques my interest the most, with you getting a foothold in Longmoor, does that open up possibilities of more MOD sites across the UK?
Each MOD site is kind of managed differently, separately, and each region of the UK is split up. So although I might have the same landmark contacts, I still have to go and talk to a different RSM, okay, or a different group of people. Still have to do a different set of fucking paperwork, risk assessments, and all that sort of stuff. That's not to say that we're not doing it, because we are. But it's taken us an awful long time to get, you know, approval at Longmoor. I don't know if or when any others will come through.
We've now got a toe in the pond at the moment, so it's a case of like, yeah.
But also, like we said, we've got a lot of events on this year. It's the most we've ever done within a year, and Kevin and I both have full-time jobs, and this is meant to be a hobby.
You would realise that James and I should both have full heads of hair through doing jobs and Defiant. Yeah.
So yeah, again, keep going back to Longmoor because it's a massive thing. It's been out of Airsoft for too long now. It's really sort of opened up the different styles you can go to now, because you've always been more woodlands other than HQ. You now got a quite solid foothold in
we did Camp Sparta when it was available.
Yeah, before it was closed down.
We did a little bit of urban stuff. I want to get back to the woods, though. To be honest with you, I like the woods.
You're a fan of woodlands, are you?
Yeah.
Ball in the trees. We'll leave die in the trees. Yeah.
So you're going to stay the opposite side of the train tracks to everybody else at Longmoor.
And you'd be happy.
Yeah. Just Kevin and I in a small hole.
Jim's and I, we've now got our own out of bounds area there as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. You'll just hear these funny noises all weekend.
We hear that anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yes, event style. I don't know that event style really would change, because it's kind of the core of what we do is those immersive events, and we will continue to do those role play, immersive events. But we broke into raid last year as well. We're talking about doing battle sims. But if there is an event style that I'm not thinking of or I haven't considered, then people can reach out and say, "Hey, have you thought about doing this?" Because we had a guy a while back going, "Hey, we'd really like to do a pole sim, a police simulation." And personally, I don't think there is enough die-hard police simulator, impressionists to do a proper one, nor is there enough people that want to do OP4 in a real sense of doing it, where they just have to act like a civilian and get fucking dealt with and arrested or what have you.
Tasers or something.
They still want to get that up. So I don't think there is enough demand for it. But that was kind of the birth of the thought process for Opler Lokin, which is a kind of a slightly less realistic take on the day-to-day policing or pulsing, but enables them to get a bit of a fix.
I think we're going to get some amazing loadouts and amazing guys' kits, pictures from this event.
That's just been Silky's Crocs.
That's just you and Silky's Crocs, yeah. I've seen that before, man. I think we're going to get a lot of guys are coming to this for this first event. Some says that we've got a complete car all done out as the police would have. Can we use it? Yeah. Will you be shooting at us? Well, we can't guarantee. We've got 70 guys on our side with BB guns. Can't guarantee it won't get shot at. If you're shooting at them with a BB gun, they're going to shoot back. So whether they feel comfortable using that or not in the game in the event, but there's going to be so much on this event that's going to look like there was a couple of years ago, there was a combined operation with the police and military training on Longmoor. So I reckon there'll be a lot of images from this event that will look similar to that, because a lot of the guys, the investment for the guys doing task force, guys doing SAS with this sort of civvy stuff with their JPCs, and the police guys, it's going to look absolutely the much.
There was a lot of interoperability training that went on, or it still continues to go on, and it will definitely hark back to that.
Yeah. So following on from that, Les had a good question. So he said, "What's the maximum number of players you can have at Longmoor, and will you sell the maximum number of tickets to coincide with that, or are you going to keep it sort of to your own level, basically?"
So there is no maximum other than down to our risk assessment. Okay. But we will only sell the number of tickets that we think that a site or our event plan can sustain. Because, oh no, I won't say that. I'll get in trouble if I say that.
Hasn't stopped.
You know, we could quite easily put.
This one will stop myself.
We could quite easily sell 500 tickets for an event, and it would be utter shite, and no one would come back, and we would destroy all the hard work. James, people like Nathan, Luke, all the people who've worked with us over the years, all the things going into make Defiant as it is today would be destroyed if we were to do an absolutely, that would be a substandard event. That would just be an absolute crass event, and we won't do that. So we've done this at sort of like the numbers we've got about 50 odd or something aside. Numbers are ideal. We feel we can manage that. That's reasonable for us. We believe we can put on a good event for people. They're spending the hard-earned money, and we believe we can give them a good product at the end of that weekend.
It's about quality over quantity. Now, the quality is still yet to be seen. We could fuck it up. We could fuck it up, but we're going to try our best not.
Yeah, try our best not to. Yeah.
That sounds good, because obviously it's always important to have a good event instead of trying to grab as much as possible, if you know what I mean.
Thank you.
Charlie Gaines has said maybe a reconnaissance style that leads into a force-on-force at Bramley, if that ever comes available. Would that be something that...
I'm not sure that we'd ever do a follow-on from a Machiavellian. And I think there's part of the Machiavellian events, it's a very, very tight community. And if you do it, you know what happened, and you don't really talk about it. It's quite emotional, really. So yeah, I don't think I'd do that style of follow-on event. But also, I think that a majority of people that would then book for the direct action side of things, they wouldn't give a shit, would they? They want to know what they're doing now. And maybe read into a bit of backstory, but they're not going to read into the 24 hours that fed into, or 30 hours. We tend to run Machiavellians for 30 odd hours. I'm not seeing it, to be honest with you.
Give no information and just give them an intel book and go, there you go, that's it, you've booked on.
Yeah,
that's
just
your
read
information.
a load of drawings of range cards. They read the situation brief from the Machiavellian, what happened over that period, and go, well, that sounds shit. Right? But the guys that actually did it were like, oh my god.
That's the next thing. If you try to do it, you're talking about a reconnaissance event. Say you've got 24 guys doing reconnaissance on a site. Say you're doing reconnaissance on Longmoor, and you've got a task force to assault. They're going to be sitting around for the first 16, 18, 20, 24 hours doing fuck all.
I think Charlie was saying about doing it on
a subsequent follow-on events. Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I'd have probably forgotten what the fuck happened in the previous event before.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like I think one of the things that come up in our chats today was like people are talking about our events. It's like all of our events have got a story leading up to them. For a lot of people, they buy into that story. So whether a reconnaissance event has given you that information, or we write a brief that is based on a reconnaissance team. And we've done it before, where our recce team's gone in on the Friday night and actually been on the ground before we've even done the safety brief on the Saturday, feeding back information to one side during an event. So you can do that at events. James and I have played events for teams like that. James and I have played events where we've done that as well. We've gone in before the game starts. So you've got that recce event built into it. So
officially starting early, yeah.
Officially starting early, as the case was,
So we've got some comments that have come in, and we'll just cover through those. We've got a couple of questions. We've got Rage saying, have Andy and Ash murdered Lance and Mike to take over? NoFo? No, they're shagging in a hotel at the moment, from what I've been told to say, and that's all the information I can give on that one. And then we've got Tony, who gave admin privileges? That'd be to me. Thanks, mate. Harry, question, is the NoFo podcast sponsored by Defiant? Seems they to be on every month. Right, fine. Bye, guys. That's it. Not having you on
Yeah,
again.
no,
No,
Quick
it's
and
just
sacked.
obviously over the years we've become close. We do support Defiant, and Defiant have supported us over the last year. It's only fair that we keep it as amicable as possible. Unfortunately, we've both got an event on at the weekend that clashes. And I think everyone's disappointed that they can't go to the other one.
Each other's, definitely.
Yeah, there's been an on-running joke where we'll go to theirs and they'll go to ours. So
Not that
we
weekend.
could do a wife swap.
An event
wife
swap.
swap, organise a swap.
You can have Kevin, right? And I'll have Lance.
Yeah, as long as Lance ends up looking like Kev at the end of it, that's fine.
I'll rip that fucker out. Don't worry.
Yeah. We've got Graded Buffalo. Ukrainian vet video was very highlighting. It was indeed. And then we've got Bilbo Leggings, a brilliant name. No gun will shoot the same. Hang on, what? No, a gun will shoot the same with or without optic. You can only take it as far as possible. If they don't like it, then they don't book on at the end of the day. So I presume that is covering our little chat about weapon optics and things. Rage again. PID is a person of issue, not a kit issue. Ultimately, friendly fire has been a component for real life conflict for so long that there has been guns. Land nav challenge. Would the near? Oh, I'm guessing near pier be at Longmoor. Near pier.
Yeah.
This is
So
a
we,
Does it mean pier on pier?
yeah, near pier or near
Pier
pier.
on pier,
Sorry, or pier on pier. Yeah. We are planning to do one a near peer event in July at Longmoor.
That'll be
So-
a green task force versus a tan task force, effectively. Yeah.
Will you choose? Will you just have it as colours, or will you make a storyline to it? Or
There'll be storyline.
Let's give you a storyline. Don't worry.
There's always a story. There's always a story. Yeah.
and then Nicholas went to last year's raid. Can't wait for the one in June. I think that's it.
Rage Wicked. I probably had the most fun I had last year. Oh no, that's a tough one. It was either at raid or it was at your intro to Milsim event. I was thinking about that earlier today. That was a great laugh.
That the intro to Muslim was a real good
I just got pissed with laugh.
the after party was great as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that you guys can make this year's one because we have some very exciting stuff. We are literally waiting for the MOD to sign off the dates. If people want to kind of roughly pre-book it, we are looking for August, first couple of weeks of August. But we are waiting for the MOD to give us access to a bit of land. But as James and Kev know, the MOD are not the most speediest of people of replying to emails.
What sites are you looking at?
So it will be Abingdon Air Base on the vehicle training course.
Yeah.
If we can get it, it will be good. We'll have some interesting training courses.
So, I mean, I was looking at the fire training school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking at that one, and that was relatively easy to get in on, but I just don't think it would play very well for Airsoft. Everything's far too spread out. For some reason, they don't want their fire spreading from one location to the next. Everything's spread out.
Terrible plan.
I know they really should have considered that.
I like I like the idea of a small, because they do the fire training on the small section of motorway. Well, I say small section; it's like a mile long, isn't it?
Yeah.
That have loads of vehicles and stuff. It may not be a mil sim, but maybe having a bit of a weird battle sim along a motorway could be quite interesting.
That site would work,
wouldn't it?
That site would work perfectly for an airsoft competition. That's all I'm going to say. having played on there before, because it's too disjointed. But you could do scenarios and have teams and do a competition on that site, and that could be a really, really good event.
You mean something like an 8-man championship?
Yeah, but one run by people that know what they're talking about. Oh, sorry, I mean us. People on this call.
So when are you doing this competition?
Yeah, well, you can't say that and then I'll just say.
Well, we
No,
did talk
I mean,
about collabs.
you can't-
We did talk
you
about
can't
collabs.
do
This
that.
is maybe the collab we should do.
You can't
I'd
do
be
that
up for
to
that.
us because you invite us onto these fucking lives and then ask us questions and we just go, "Rah." We don't know what we're talking about. There's a small spark of an idea somewhere that vocalizes itself, right? And there's nothing behind it necessarily. Or maybe.
I do. It's like we have ideas. We think we could do that. If we got this, we could do that. Yeah.
But we
As
give
long
you
as
the
we
pressure
start,
to actually carry on.
we activate that spark of imagination in you
Yeah.
now and again, hopefully, or maybe not. Maybe we dull it.
No, that's what the alcohol's for, you know.
Yeah.
No, I think for us this year we have got a lot to do, and for us to get this,
I'm not taking on any more in 2024.
I'd love to get this year's events just right, and this year we're planning to do more events than we've ever done. If we walk out at the end of this and we've still got customers who want to come to our events in 2025, that's fucking bonus.
Yeah, definitely. So what events have you definitely got booked on for, or you know that you're doing for 2024? Just so people can start penciling things in their diaries for this year.
So there's no definites when we talk about Longmoor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, can you share the page of our website with our event? You can put that up on the screen as we're chatting over
I can do, yeah.
Because you can see what we've
You
got
carry
there.
on
That's
talking.
helpful.
I'll bring that up.
Yeah, so there are no definites when we talk about Longmoor, right? So they could pull the Loken date tomorrow if they had reason to.
Or if Jesus comes, if Jesus decides to bring Easter eggs on Good Friday, we're fucked. You know,
it is highly unlikely because nobody wants to do any kind of training Easter weekend. Funnily enough, which is one of the reasons why I jumped at that weekend. Is it's more or less a sure thing, but all of the other dates are as well. Even that one to an extent subject to change. Okay, the only ones that we have got absolutely nailed down is Machiavellian and Red Tide and Raid and Red Tide. So anywhere that's not MOD, simply because we have a pretty damn bulletproof contract that we put to sites before we book on. That basically says that if they want to cancel on us, that's fine, but they have to pay quite heavily. Let's say if we had an event on an airsoft site, it wouldn't be Defiant that refunded your money. It would be the site owner.
Could be the lovely MOD. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So I've just brought up your website now. We'll get rid of it. Oh, we can chat to you.
You can. It goes straight to my phone, which some of my work colleagues figured out the other day.
Oh, right. So if anyone wants to wake up James, just go onto their website. Their website is www.defiantevents.co.uk. And these are the events that they've got on their website at the moment. When do your bookings open for certain things? Do you normally give a heads up?
Ish. It's dependent on a few things. Obviously, we are sold out for the next 3 months for Machiavellian, Leylokin, and Raid. So the next.
That's those three.
Yeah, so the next sales opportunity will be that July one. I'm not sure when we're going to open bookings yet, because it being an MOD site, we want to make sure that it's at least likely to happen. Okay. Red Tide, we will probably open in probably July. We'll probably do it in July for Red Tide. Give it a good sort of 3 months.
And then you've got another Machiavellian, I see.
Yeah, so we've got the if you go one up from there. So yeah, we've got another one at Longmoor, which potentially a battle sim or a collab event, something of that nature.
So going on what we've seen from the calendar there and Rage's comment, he's wondering if you are going to do a lot more other sites across the UK, or if you're going to be sticking to Longmoor as a focus for this year. And
in 2024, no, we're not going anywhere else because I haven't got the time, or we haven't got the time. Like I said, we have full-time jobs. We're busy elsewhere. This is the most events we've ever run. We did have one more event in the calendar in August, and we lost the date for that. So somewhat thankfully, to be honest with you, because I was struggling to think about what to do with myself.
I think that was also my problem.
Sorry, we missed all that, Kev.
Yeah, my headphone dropped out. Yeah, so James was saying the date in August. It's like, yeah, that's a bit of a problem because that was my wedding anniversary, I think, as well that weekend. You know, so that was always going to be a problem.
It was also the same weekend as NAF, so I really kind of wanted just to throw on a big ass battle sim, but.
So
Rage
when you
was
do
more worried
your
about next year, by the way.
yeah,
Raid was more.
So
Raid was, mate, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing tomorrow, let alone next year.
yeah. So with your peer on peer, because I know there's a lot of interest with that. Rage is beyond desperate, I think, for one, going by his 6 posts of requesting it. What sort of numbers would you be thinking of running for that? Would you keep them as equal as possible, or
they would be equal? I would not be prepared to say numbers at this time, simply because we have our first event there in March, and we will learn an awful fucking lot. And we might say, hey, there's no way we want to put that number on again, or actually we could potentially squeeze a few more in. So yeah, wait out.
perfect.
I think it comes back to the idea of like just making sure the event's going to be a good event. So rather than just put people on a mod site because we've got it and we can, I'd rather run a good small event than a shit big event.
So if people have any questions for you or want to keep an eye out on events, obviously you've got your website, but do you have any socials or websites or other socials like Instagram or anything that you guys want?
Yeah, we've got fantastic TikTok that Kevin does lots of dances on.
Sometimes with clothes on, sometimes without, you know.
Yeah, there's Lonely Fans. We've got that. What else we got?
$29.99 a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can reach us on Facebook. You can reach us on Instagram. If you go onto our website, you can get a direct chat straight to me on the fucking mobile device. Occasionally, we put out links to our WhatsApp community group as well. And if you are in the WhatsApp community, then great. You tend to get an invite to that community if you've booked a ticket, and that is where we release our tickets first as well.
Mhm.
Not necessarily first. We do an early release within there before it goes public. Yeah. So there's a reason
with
spam.
Yeah. With Loken, people in our community group got notification of sales first of all before they went public. So, you know, we are rewarding and recognizing people who have come to our events before who keep in touch with us.
Mm-hmm.
That's a loyalty and a thank you, basically.
Yeah. Rage has said, you've both teased me with peer-on-peer style event run by you. Stop teasing me.
No, never.
No.
We love
Why say
teasing
that? They're never going to do one now. It's just and Kenny's would love to see some platoon-sized engagements.
Yeah.
I mean, herding cats would be more likely than trying to manage a platoon size of S. Yeah, No, well, doable. I don't think I want to do it urban. Certainly.
Yeah, that'd be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we have done it at rural events to that extent. Yeah.
Andy H has just popped in and said, delighted that Defiant have got Longmoor, lots of amazing events over the years. And then he's put, I know James and Kev will take this on and smash it. Presumably, there are some major logistical and administrative challenges to using an MOD site.
Logistically, it's not too bad because we've actually got a very close mate that lives about 10 minutes down the road. We're just going to dump all the shit at his house.
And he's not online tonight. Yeah.
No, he is. That was him. That was
All right.
that was him. Yeah.
Andy, I hope you've got a big drive, mate.
Oh, that Andy, right? Okay, yeah, got that.
Yeah. Defiant is borrowing your garage for a weekend.
Please hire a skip. You will need it. Yeah.
In all honesty, though, logistically, Longmoor's a hell of a lot easier than any other event that we've run, simply because it's south. It's a lot further south, or a lot closer to Kevin and I, than stuff that we've run since. When did we do Red Tide?
That was a dog tag. Dog tag.
No, Red Tide. Yeah, the original Red Tide, wasn't it? Yeah, the first Red Tide was the last time that we were local.
Yeah. And then Red Tide 2 was at Apocalypse, where we were doing Machiavellian. Yeah, that was us.
Yeah, but even that's nearly 3 hours away.
Yeah, every event we did last year there was no events we did last year down south. Everything was up north.
No, we did Machiavellian. The first Machiavellian Alpha was at Tuddenham.
That's still north.
I still count that as north because you have to cross the Dartford.
You
have to cross
Dark Charge. Yeah, that's north. That's north. Yeah, northeast. That is. Yeah.
I feel offended. I'm only an hour away from there.
Yeah.
Mate, to be honest, to me, anything north of the South Downs is north. Like, there is a narrow couple of miles slit at the arse end of the country that is southern. Everything above that speaks funny and puts gravy on things.
Yeah.
So it's
like
even funnier and even more gravy.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's getting close to time. If anyone has any questions while we're just going through the last bit, please phone in. We'll try and get them answered. Just put a queue in front of them. If you've liked the show or liked James and Kev and Ash, not me, because I'm always on. If you like those guys on the show, if you could just hit that like button, it does help us break the algorithms that everyone seems to be smashing on things at the moment. And if you want to get in contact with myself, you can always use my tag, which is _quartermaster. And I'm on Instagram. Ash is on onelegion.uk_Pegasus. James is Croc Ambassador, and Kev is at Kevin is at Defiant.
That's what it feels like all the time.
There's no way I'm letting people reach out to me personally. That's annoying.
If you've got any ideas or questions or anything that you can't get in contact with James or Kev about, you can always contact us and we will forward them on to them. You can get in contact with us on nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is at November_Foxtrot_NoFo, and we do have a website which is www.novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. We also have a forum which I think is rather quiet at the moment. Oh, something that I forgot to bring up in the news. I know many of you are being very generous and contributing to our Buy Me a Coffee. Unfortunately, at the moment, the Buy Me a Coffee system is playing up a little bit. They just want confirmation that we are a non-profit organisation. So they have stopped payments at the moment, but it's something that we are looking at sorting out. The banks have us down as non-profit, so it shouldn't be an issue. But as soon as they're back up and running, if you do want to make a donation to us, please get in contact with us. We do have other ways of doing it as well. And we do appreciate your continued support. I personally always think it's amazing that people pay for us listen to us, really, and it does mean a lot to help us out. But yeah, James, Kev, and Ash, thank you very much for coming on. We've got one question which I'll throw up now, and that is from SJP22. This is going to be my first milsim coming up. Anything I need to know that I won't find online for milsim in general and Defiant Events? Question to finish on.
Yeah, read up what's right there. Anything you're unsure about, ask the question to any of us. And without being rude, one of James's comments he said before is, come to an event, don't have an ego, come along, listen, learn, work with other people. And the ultimate rule for milsim is just don't be a dick. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but people that come with the preconceived ideas and really come wrong. But I think as a community, speak to us, get involved in the WhatsApp groups, ask any questions there, message any of us directly if you don't want to put it public. We will support you. All right, message James directly, not me.
Message James directly.
I would say definitely read through the website first. There's a shitload of information on there. If that doesn't answer your question, then every event that we run, once you booked on, has a dedicated WhatsApp group. Okay, and you can ask it in there, right? There will be people that have done loads of Defiant events in the past in there, right? That might be able to answer your question, or myself and Kevin will be in there, and we can answer your question there. It's better to answer a question in front of everybody else because somebody else might benefit from your question. I'm going to have to say, please don't come to me directly because I've had an awful lot of it recently. And I'm genuinely considering about changing my number. Genuinely.
Also, as well,
he's frozen. He's
brilliant.
That's it.
Oh, frozen. No, what I was going to say was obviously we have lots of videos and stuff that go into your first milsim, what you need to pack and things like that.
They're good.
And I can personally vouch for if you go to an event, a Defiant event, if it's
and
your
you forget
first
your
one,
trousers.
yeah, just let the guys know that it's your first event and they will look after you there. James and Ken, they might not be the busiest people in the world, like they might be the busiest people in the world at that particular moment, but your section leaders and your section will look after you. So just don't be afraid to ask anything and ask for help.
Yeah, I think as James said, on when you join the WhatsApp groups, a lot of people will answer. If you've got a question up, other customers and players will answer the question before we even get a chance to see it. Because as you said, they've come to our event before and they know what it's all about. So yeah, the community is really strong that way. Yeah, don't be scared to ask the question.
I'm quite happy to say that I think the elitist and somewhat abrasive attitude of milsim in the past is fizzling out and dying, and the community in general is a lot more helpful, which is great to see. Definitely makes life easier for Kevin and I.
Yeah, so as I was saying, our community is growing. I think there's like 200 plus people in the WhatsApp group. Yes, you might get like the best pancake recipe, and we had that last week as well, which was quite fun.
There's a lot about Rage's mum in there. Loads of information about Rage's mum.
But yeah, no, it's like, you know, there's lots of good stuff. But I say on each event as well, once you join those dedicated groups, ask your questions and just put them in there. And people, if we don't get the question first, other people will give you the answer because they've played before and they will help you out. So yeah, I'm glad to have you on board. Thank you for joining us.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show with me being in charge. We did all right. We do have a bit of a tradition of the final words of the show. As this is probably going to be a little while before we see Ash on the show again, I'm going to let him have the final words of the episode.
Okay. So I've been planning this because I figured you was going to say that. And all I'm going to say, if it's your first time ice skating, take the penguin. Take the penguin.
Right. And on that note, guys, say goodbye.
Goodbye,
Good
guys.
night.
Goodbye, guys.
Stay NoFo.